Hello and welcome to my Finale Songwriter Screencast. Once you've purchased and downloaded Finale Songwriter 2012, you can click on it on your dock. We'll let it load. And just a little Finale background, it is a notation software for people who are interested in arranging and composing sheet music. Okay, don't show this message again. So, create new music with a setup wizard. And in a typical a cappella arrangement, I prefer to use choral style. And we're going to leave the score page size at 8.5 by 11, and it's going to be the portrait orientation. Now, instead of having a blank staff, we're going to put in voices because it's an a cappella music. So we're going to put in a soprano voice, that's the highest female voice, an alto voice, that's the second highest female voice, a tenor voice, that's the male voice, and bass voice, the lowest male voice. We're going to leave it in choral score order. Next, we're going to title this Test Run, composed by Molly Kahn. Copyright Molly Kahn, because we don't want anyone stealing our sheet music. Next, we're going to choose a time signature. I'm going to leave it in 4/4, which means there's 4 beats per measure. And so this is some basic music theory. The key signature that we want, we'll leave it in C major. However, if you wanted it in different major key, you scroll up for the sharps, and you scroll down for the flats. And then there's also a minor key option. Tempo marking we'll leave at 120, and we'll make it 12 measures because this is a short song. And finish, and bam, we have our sheet music. We're calling it Test Run. Now, we're going to want to be on the pointer tool over here, and we have a variety of menus going on here. We have the main menu, which features the pointer tool, the grabber tool, the lyrics tool is down here, and tons of important tools. You can mess with the key signature. You can add repeats in. It's really fantastic notation software, and this is actually a more basic version of Finale. There are more expensive versions out there that you could do a lot more with. However, for our purposes of a cappella arranging, Finale Songwriter works perfectly well. So we have our simple entry palette, which we'll use a lot, and we want to make sure that we have our simple entry rests palette. There it is. So we went over to Window, and we made sure that all of these are checked off so that we can arrange with all the notes that we possibly may need. So we're going to move that menu over there. And that's more, this menu over here is more of a dynamics menu. It has to do with how you sing it. But first we're just going to arrange what you want to sing. So we will start with some basic quarter notes. And up, Rainbow Wheel of Death. Gotta love Macintosh. There it goes. So we have a quarter note, and we're going to give that a G. And if you're listening closely, you'll be able to hear that's an A. You'll be able to hear choral voices singing back at you whenever you put a note in. That's an F. It's pretty funny. So in order to change those choral voices, because they can get very annoying, we will go over to Score Manager in Window, and under Sound it's going to say 53 Choir Oz. We're going to hit Control click, and we're going to change it to a grand piano. Keep it basic. For all 4 voices. And hopefully it'll adjust right away so that we don't have to listen to those annoying choir ahs. Okay, you can X that out and let's test it. They're still there. Let's see. Ah, I know what it is. So in the playback controls, we'll hear a grand piano once we listen to our music. However, when you're placing the note, it's going to remain as a choir ah, unfortunately. So now we're going to change. So those are all quarter notes. This is a whole note, which means, so the quarter notes mean you're going to hold each note for 1 beat in a 4/4 measure, and a whole note you hold for all 4 beats. So we're going to throw that in right here. And we'll do a half note, and we're going to throw in our half rest. Oop. Just kidding. That is improper notation, so we're going to use our eraser tool, perfect opportunity. So we use a half note, and I couldn't do a half rest because there were already 4 beats in there, because it's 2 half notes means 2 beats per note. So now we'll throw in our half rest, the one that looks like a little top hat, and we'll put that in right there. And the whole rest is the opposite, it's right there. So these guys are kind of complicated. These are, that's a quarter rest, 8th rest, 16th rest, 32nd, etc., etc. Music notation usually works in 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 8, 16, etc. So if you can use some basic multiplication, you should be good to go when learning music theory. So this music is probably not going to sound great because we're going to throw in random notes everywhere in the alto section, and sure, we'll throw in a triplet. And we're going to make this note sharp. Oops. So a simple delete means you won't have notes on top of each other, and that's where the sharp note is. And make this note flat. So what that does is it brings when you make a note sharp, it raises the note a half a step, and when you make a note flat, it lowers the note half a step, so that you can have different kind of music, like major music and minor music, 2 different kinds. This is a natural, so we're going to put this as an A natural. And it's not as important to have the natural button on after doing sharps and flats, but it's important if they're in the same measure to do that. And what else can we do? Let's see. For this tutorial, you can add measures in case you didn't add enough. And a MIDI is the music file, which plays on QuickTime and other software that many computers have, and you'll be able to play it back. If you save the file as a MIDI, people can open it on their computer and we'll be able to play it back. So here's the help box if you ever have a random question about Finale. And let's see, we'll just add more to our funky little song here. So these are 8th notes. This song is probably going to be terrible. Fair warning. And why not? Throw in some 16th notes. So that means you have to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, spoiler alert, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 notes in a 4/4 key signature. Time signature, I'm sorry. And so that's the tenor section. It's going to be quite interesting. And now on the bass, we'll throw in some rests, quarter rest. Give it a little syncopation. So jazzy. And we'll do a second measure. Throw in some 8th notes there too. And do we want a quarter rest? Let's find out. 2 quarter rests equal a half rest, so we don't want a quarter rest. We'll just throw in a half rest. Okay. And we're going to play this back. So File and Save As. Gonna let that load. And you can save it either as a .mus or as a standard MIDI file. It's important to do a MIDI if you want people who don't have Finale to be able to hear back what you're playing or what you created. Okay, so it turned it into a MIDI, and let's play back. Hopefully it won't sound wretched. Here we go. So it sounded like a small child playing on the piano, banging around, but nonetheless, you have now learned how to use Finale Songwriter 2012. I hope you enjoyed this screencast.